So today we need to talk about some pretty tough news, really the end of an era for one of sport's most iconic couples. It's a story that's about so much more than a headline. It's about legendary careers, a public partnership that meant the world to so many people, and a really difficult announcement that kicks off a new chapter for Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe.
And these are the exact words they used to start their joint statement. Right away, you can feel that raw honesty. It's a tough message to share, and they chose to say it straight, no pretense. It grounds this whole public moment in a very, very human reality. And here it is, the core of the news. After 10 years together, their relationship is over. And yeah, the announcement really hit a lot of people hard. It marks the end of an era for a couple who weren't just fixtures in sports, but in our culture as a whole. But what's so important here is how they framed it. They made it crystal clear that this was a decision they made together, with, and I'm quoting here, so much love, respect, and care. You know, that one detail, it tells you everything you need to know. It's not a bitter ending, but a really graceful and respectful transition. It's a powerful example of how to handle change when the whole world is watching. Okay, so to really get the full impact of this news, we have to take a step back and remember exactly who we're talking about. So let's take a minute and look at the monumental careers that made them individual legends, long before they became this power couple. On one side, you've got Sue Bird, a basketball genius, really. She basically defined the point guard position for almost 20 years with the Seattle Storm. And on the other, Megan Rapinoe, this dynamic, absolutely fearless force in soccer for the U.S. Women's National Team. Two totally different sports, but one shared story of just utter dominance. Let's start with Sue. Four WNBA championships. Just let that sink in for a second. Over 19 seasons, she took the Seattle Storm to the very top of the sport 4 different times. That's not just winning games, that's building a dynasty. And it wasn't just in the WNBA. Her impact went global. She won 5 Olympic gold medals. 5. That number is just staggering. It makes her one of the most decorated basketball players, period, man or woman, in the history of the game. All right, now for Megan Rapinoe. She was a crucial part of the U.S. teams that won the FIFA Women's World Cup not once, but twice, in 2015 and 2019. And she didn't just win, she absolutely captivated the world with her skill and her unapologetic leadership on the biggest stage you can imagine. But for the last 10 years, their individual greatness was just one part of the story. The other was a partnership that became just as iconic, one they lived out with so much vulnerability and strength right there in the public eye. Their statement really brings it all back down to earth. It reminds you it wasn't just about the red carpets and the trophies. As they put it, it was about a whole life. All the big wins, for sure, but also those quiet, everyday moments that they'll carry with them forever. This timeline really puts their journey into perspective, right? They got together around 2016, and then they supported each other through those final incredible years of their careers. Bird retiring in 2022, and then Rapinoe just a year later. It really felt like they were moving into a new phase of life together, in sync. And that timing, wow, it just makes this announcement feel even tougher. So that brings us to what's next. Their separation is obviously a huge shift, not just in their personal lives, but professionally too. They're now moving forward on their own individual paths, while also closing the book on the things they built together. And Sue Bird has wasted absolutely no time in shaping the future of basketball. She's already a Hall of Famer, and now she's the managing director for the U.S. Women's National Team. I mean, come on. She's not just a legend anymore, she's an architect, building the next generation of greatness. But their post-playing careers weren't totally separate. Together, they launched A Touch More, which was their podcast and media company. And in their announcement, they did confirm that with their personal separation, this professional chapter is also coming to an end. You can just feel how much this project meant to them from their own words. It was a space for connection, not just with each other, but with all of us. You can just tell this wasn't some business deal for them. It was a true passion project. And I think this is so important. They made sure to talk directly to their community. They really emphasize that even though the podcast itself is ending, the community and that connection they all built, that's not going anywhere. It's a message of real gratitude and continuation. This sense of gratitude was honestly a huge theme in their whole announcement. They took the time to thank the community that, as they said, held them up and supported them exactly as they are. They really acknowledge the vital role their fans played in their whole public journey together. And so that kind of leaves us with one final thought. In a world where public relationships are put under a microscope 24/7, they were champions on their own and an absolute force together. So what is the lasting legacy of a couple who completely redefined success, all while navigating their lives and their love in the public eye?